Right. Okay. Welcome everyone. Here we go. All right. Yeah. The I'll start at the beginning. I've got like a bit of a lot of information here, but I'm gonna just kind of work my way through it naturally. Yeah. So as I was sort of saying before, that all of this has come into fruitation like naturally. So through the path and through the paths that I've taken and the journey that I've taken, it's it's unfolded and it's evolved in its own way. And actually, like never, it's never been to create something uh, for for anything other than really helping myself, either myself or other people in a way. So it's never been about like making money or anything like that, really. So I feel like I've always felt that it's a money's like a byproduct of like I mean I used to work like I still do as a plasterer and I'm doing that just sort of to keep the income in, but um once you get to a point where you can start to make money out of the things that you love and that you enjoy, it's really fulfilling. And as soon as I started doing hypnotherapy and everything like that, I was like instantly, I was like, oh my God, like I resonate with this so much. This is like my calling without a doubt. And as I've gone on, the things that I've done and been passionate about have started to fruit me with money more and more as my ability to do it has grown. But it's never been about that. And as I mean, over the last say I don't know 4 years. I think actually at the beginning of lockdown, interestingly, at a time when we needed it most, I really started getting into. Um, I'd been interested in it before, but I really started getting into medicinal mushrooms of all kinds and how they would how they could benefit us. And it was like divine timing as well when we needed it the most. When people were being tested and I think you needed that little bit more to give you a bit of an insight. And I remember literally seeing what I remember when Boris come onto the screen and to tell everybody they had to be in their houses and whatever. Instantly, I was like, "You're lying." I could just call bullshit on it instantly. I could just see he was like a naughty schoolboy who was trying to hold back laughing when he's telling the teacher that it weren't him that threw something at someone's head. Like it was literally that obvious and that clear to me, and I was just like, no, like, and like obviously, I mean, everybody knows what it was like the amount of like, I mean, to go against all of the what everybody around you's doing. Well, in a sense, at that time as well, I feel like a lot of of the people that I kind of find myself around now as well. Before then, I feel like we was all scattered more. We was all surrounded by people that were, like we were the minority in the circles we was in, and a lot of the time we didn't speak our truths because I just couldn't be bothered to speak to people that didn't understand it really, and so it was pointless. You'd talk to people and they'd say like, honestly, what you going on about and stuff like that, and there was no, you couldn't resonate with half of the people around you because they all was not interested in the things I was. But then as got to COVID and post COVID and everything else, my circle of the people that I find around me have become more aligned with me and my beliefs and that. And now what I find is those people that are outside of that, they want to know more about what you're saying because they are in need of it as well. So yeah, as that went on through that, learning to do hypnotherapy, learning more about mushrooms and stuff like that. So one of the first mushrooms or that I come across, I actually went into the woods to look for a different type of mushroom. I was looking for the red and white, like fly agaric, that grows around the birch trees and the conifers. And again, it wasn't to get it. And again, at this point, I'm not into using things like that. So, I mean, there's a time, and those times are long gone, where now I see like for what they are really for, like they're medicines to create, to allow us as well. So I'm not, again, I'm seeing a lot of people that use plant medicines and that in a way which is like shock. It's like it's such an abrupt um, um, connection to your, and it can like rip the bandages off of old wounds like instantly. And what I'm seeing, and I've learned over time, is like a way to do it in um, a much more gentle and unfolding way, which doesn't create um, unnecessary, I suppose, unnecessary well, additional trauma. It's not additional trauma, but you can, if things come up too quickly and you're not able to process it, some people won't get through that process. It can be so disturbing, if that makes sense, because you could you could be like 35 or something like that, and have had things happen to you when you was younger that you've kind of buried, that you don't remember. And if you go into like a DMT ceremony or ayahuasca or a hard hitting, like strong, like big dose of mushrooms and things like that, and you're like and you're confronted with that thing that you've buried, and it can come through and show like really kind of, and not everyone can without the, again, so a lot of these ceremonies as well, they kind of will, this can happen, but they don't supply the aftercare to allow people to even transmute or process that either. So they're ready, like ready to kind of to give you a medicine, but then if it's really powerful and you do have an experience which dislodges a lot of stuff that then needs the processing after, they're not there to pick up the pieces, and you've got to do that on your own. And so as my work's gone on, I've realized like so I've done like different ceremonies with the blue lotus flower, just as a, again, it's more like when you combine the two, the holistic and the medicinal side of it with hypnotherapy, the blue lotus ceremonies that I've done are more, it's more about placebo really, because the tea doesn't give you a noticeable effect. It does have elements in it that are good. There's two like main elements in them. One is like a psychoactive element, and one of them is more like an opiate, so it relaxes you. Like, so it's good for, it's meant to be good for, or said to be good for, like lucid dreaming and relaxation, sleep cycles, and things like that. And so with the ceremony that I did, is like it's about connecting people to like those that came back to themselves and back to into the moment, bringing them into the moment, and feeling what's around them, the space that we was in. We was in these ancient woods, hearing the wind, feeling the energy of the trees, and like detaching from all of that chaos or all of that stuff that ain't in the moment and that ain't just precious to that moment, and where that energy is like grounded. And then so the blue lotus side of it, yeah, it is, I mean, if you took loads and loads of it, you would feel effects of it, but at a very subtle microdose level. Just one tea is just going to be, it's just the, it's like we said about just a drip on your tongue. It's like not going to create, like you're not going to lose yourself or disorientate you. You're like, you're, if anything, you're more focused and more, you know, in tune than you normally are. It's just enough to just bring you into alignment with yourself and with nature. And then all these different things that I've been doing in this way have all kind of, are all like part of the same tapestry of like or design, where they've all sort of shown different things and all reflected into different areas. So like when well, I'll go back to when I found that, when looking for that red and white mushroom, the flygaric, I ended up finding a mushroom called the birch bracket, and and I've been using that in different ways for a good few years now. And what that's over at the time when I found it, I just thought to myself, this looks beautiful. It's definitely don't like my intuition told me it doesn't look poisonous. I cut some off and it was just pure white. It just smelt like mushrooms, a little bit more stronger than like normal mushrooms that you put with your food, but or your fry ups and that. But it's like it's a pure white, smelt really nice. And I thought I'm going to take some photos. I'm going to do some research on it and find out what it's all about. And instantly I was just hit with all of this research and scientific data saying that in labs it's been shown to stop the HIV virus in its tracks. It stops E. coli, it stops flu virus, it stops cold flus, this, that. It's antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, um, it's a natural anesthetic, local anesthetic. It's antiseptic. If you cut a little bit off and put it on a cut, if you get cut in, you it will like anesthetize the wound, but also um, yeah, clear it as well, clean it, and also sort of slightly numb it as well. So when I've done walks in the woods, I cut a little piece off if I find some, and allow people that I'm with to kind of just taste a tiny little square on the tongue, and if you chew it up after about a couple of minutes, it just releases some of its um, some of its elements, and you feel a slight numbness, nothing like extreme, but yeah, you get to experience like that side of it, and yeah, and as so I started doing different things with that. The first time I ever like did a bit of a trial with that, I remember I felt like I had a bit of a cold coming on, and I thought to myself, oh, do you know what? It didn't pop into my head straight away, and then all of a sudden I thought, oh, I'm gonna try some of this. So I've done a little tea, broke some in. I've done about 4 cups boiling water with a cup, put a little chili in there as well, a little dried chili, and a few other bits. I think some like peppermint tea bag, just boiling water, stirred it, let it simmer for a bit. I had about 4 cups, and then I woke up the next day and I was completely fine. And I was like, well, okay, yeah, that worked well. I'm pleased with that. And then and as it's gone on, yeah, I've just found it's unfolded more in different ways. I've learned that about 2 years ago, I think, I was with my brother. I had hay fever, sort of felt like it was coming on, and my brother said, I've got an app. It's showing me that the only pollen in the air is birch pollen. And all of a sudden I was like, ah, I've got a tincture made from a mushroom that grows on the birch tree. I was like, right, I'm going to give it a go. Like, but again, it's recognizing these patterns and seeing like that, like picking up on these patterns has allowed me to kind of take these steps through. And so I went back when I got home. I had a few big doses of it, like big, like I went just 2 big squirts. So like when I was making this as well, I knew that you could have. I think once I'd finished making the tincture, I had about a large shot's worth left over, which is pretty much what I'd sell in the bottle, the tincture bottle. And I remember thinking, well, I know that you could. I knew that you'd be able to. I'd be able to drink a lot. Like I knew that the threshold of what's in it, and also I didn't feel. I just thought, well, I'm just gonna drink a lot. It's only going to be good for me because I knew that you could make teas out of it, and I know you can put loads into it. So on the research as well, I found out that if you make a soup out of it or just water and birch bracket and then you freeze the water, it's said that if you put the cubes, if you turn it into ice cubes and you put 1 ice cube in a soup every couple of days, it's said that like you'll never get ill. It will keep your immune system at optimum level. So yeah, I've done the shot that was left over and carried on. So I knew you could have quite a bit. So yeah, anyway, so the hay fever literally was gone after having a few squirts. The hay fever was gone in a couple of hours. And then going forward, I've shared this with people. I've got a mate who's really skeptical, don't believe in none of this stuff, and he come at me once and was like, "Oh, my hay fever's really bad. Like I ain't been at work today. I can't see, I can't breathe. Have you got anything?" So and I gave him. I said, "Hey, I try some of this." And he messaged me literally about 3 hours later and was like, mate, this stuff is absolutely incredible. I'm now sitting in my garden. I've just mowed the lawn. I'm now sitting in the middle of my garden in the lecture with a beer in my hand, and he was like, and I'm absolutely fine. Like he said, my nose is like crystal clear. So, so yeah, that's kind of unfolded. These were like these sort of building blocks to where I've now ended up with what I've got on here, like what I want to share with you, because up till this point, I was making again, and again, these were also the Blue Lotus again came to me from various ways. Like I was recognizing the night, like I kept seeing it popping up in different chats and different places, and then as like, and then all of a sudden, I was just like, right, okay, it's calling me out here. Like it's trying to connect with me. Like I need to kind of get some and learn about it. Yeah, because it was just there in my face all the time. And all of a sudden, and you know, when you can just be blind to something and then you realize, okay, I need to look into this. It's like right in front of my eyes. And then as you like start to do that and learn to do that, like the synchronicities really, it's your like it's almost like you're aligning with your higher you're aligning with your higher self, your higher frequency. And when you're doing that, when you do that and you start to recognize the patterns that are laid out in front of you, the path becomes your highest path, really, like your highest the path of your highest good, and that one what you can bring and kind of and achieve. And so yeah, so all those different like tinctures that I've done before were all, I suppose, like they'd all come to me in a certain way, but there was all a result of finding them or coming to it, like I suppose both ways. They found me, and then I found them. But then with this one, this was something new because I actually had a friend come to me and say that their sister was feeling in a certain way, and that they thought it was more than just like physical um, condition, because it was like her faults. It was like she was getting physical symptoms, but also her fault patterns and that were intrusive and dark and not doing her any favors. And so it was like recognize that there could be either parasites or the fault of parasites, and also like more like I suppose when people sort of say they could be plagued by demons or and entities or something like that, and what however it's like, however it resonates with everyone, that kind of can believe, because some people wouldn't believe in that sort of stuff, some people will believe, but whatever way you sort of look at it from a kind of spiritual perspective or a scientific perspective, there's like lots of different sort of views on what that is, but it's still none the same. It's still like it. Sometimes you can't explain things like in certain ways, and you need to kind of think outside the box. And then when you start looking, piecing it all together, like you see that there's a lot more going on than just the physical, like a lot more. And actually, like I think this is like so that this is a really good example. So it goes into the fact that there's a what I've come to realize with hypnotherapy as well is that our minds are like multi-dimensional spaces. Okay, so like you hold like every horror film you've ever seen, you've absorbed, and you have in you somewhere stored. It's as simple as that. Like Hollywood know what they're doing. Like the media know what they're doing, the news know what they're doing. Like those that are orchestrating it, they're doing it for a reason, because they know the way our minds are, and a lot of most people just believe themselves to be 3D, and then they wonder why they're not in control of their thoughts or their mind, when their mind is actually made up of infinite layers and voices that can all come through. Maybe not at once, but in their own way. Everything they could come through in various ways. You know, one there, one there, one there, to make a tapestry that your conscious mind is going to relate to, which is confusing, and why so a lot of people do feel confusion and stuff like that. But so there's something on TikTok. I don't know whether anyone goes on TikTok, but there's like a new kind of thing on there which is called like subliminal. I think it's called like subliminal spaces, right? So it's basically like someone. It's AI made by AI, and it looks like an abandoned swimming pool, like a huge one, like Fantasies used to be at Dartford, and it's like just going down, like going into these areas all tiled, but it's like grimy as well, and you can hear the noise of the water, and you can almost smell like the chlorine and everything. It like plays on all your senses, but in every space that it goes through, like it'll go through the corridors, you'll hear someone walking through the water, and but in every place you feel like as well, there's a door, like a dark door and things like that, or a dark tube, you know, like a water chute, and it'll always give you a glimpse of like these dark recesses of the landscape. And to me, like what I come to recognise, like I said about the horror films, is like all that's what that's doing is it's creating a dimension in your mind where possibly like parasites can grow, because actually your subconscious is absorbing that, and it store that dimension in you, and to me that looks like the perfect breeding ground for parasites, because it's low frequent, and also when you look at it another way, it's low vibrational, it's low frequency fear, like uh you know, like the black where the doors that are dark represent like depths where you can, which you'll what you'll associate with those depths is the feeling that you're feeling from the room that you can see. So that will then you're then projecting even further and deeper. You're then projecting that the kind of anxiety and the kind of unsettled feeling you're feeling from these landscapes into the depth, further into the depths of what is really like yourself, you know. And this is, I think, one of the most strongest kind of um out of all the things I've seen, like the horror films and things like that. Like this is a real big, really big like indicator to me, like what it. I think really this has allowed me to see in what is in that, because it's so clear to me that, like what I said, we are not like 3D objects. Like we have a body, but within us is everything, you know, like whatever we want to dream or whatever we want to believe is like is within us, and like our words that we speak and our mind, what we conjure up in our mind's eye, ultimately is the frequency that is resonating through our body and through our cells, and even through one cell. It's like it's almost like, and you can trace it right back down to like one spark, and whatever that one spark is within you is instantly just spread to every cell in your body, because they're all the same, they're all connected. That every cell has got our DNA in it, so what is happening in one cell is happening in every cell in your body. So like to change one cell effectively is to change like every part of your body as well, because that's all you really need to do, because the DNA is stored, like the complete DNA code is stored in one cell. Like you take one hair and I can clone my, and it's known, I don't know how, like that's not my field of expertise, but take one hair, and it's said that I could be cloned from it. So like bearing that in mind, yeah, so knowing that multidimensional, that side of ourselves really gives a good like insight into like the depth of us that is for the most part like overlooked by people that, or by everyone really, unless they're doing they're kind of looking to understand that. Because when you look about and you know, it's certainly never, it was certainly never taught to me at school, I know that much, and it was certainly never taught to me by anyone, like in the sense that I would feel like it was common knowledge. Like it's had to be acquired, like this kind of like depths of sort of knowing yourself, you know, and knowing, and ultimately then knowing, yeah, knowing more. But it's Um, so yeah, so that like knowing that you're like what you could store within you, um, is and how that affects you. Um, so yeah, so cool on that first. Yeah, as as that unfolded, with with different tinctures and things like that, it's yeah, I went off on a tangent there, but going back to my mates and her sister and how she was storing or potentially holding on to these entities, whether that's outside, whether that's in a part of the mind, the recessed area of the mind that is not being accessed, that you can get to with hypnotherapy, but at the same time, um, um, it's also I was actually asked if I could whether the birch bracket would be any good or if I had anything for her. And I remember thinking at the time, I'm gonna make something to clear something more than just like that. So I know the birch bracket is antibacterial, antiviral, but I thought to myself, I'm gonna make something that will like I intentionally set about making something for her to help her with what she had, what it was going on. And bearing that in mind is what I knew that she had physical symptoms. I knew she had like um, the fault patterns and the fault forms that she was getting as well, and it kind of gave me a like a kind of ground, like an idea of what, or I knew kind of what I wanted to create, and so this kind of coincided with a point when I was. It was near Christmas. I think it was like a year or so ago, and I was on. I was looking at a post, and it said, "Worm. If you take wormwood, black walnut, black walnuts seed, and oregano oil together, that it will cure." I think it might have said that it will cure cancer or something like that, and something about parasites, and I looked down and there was about 4,500 comments on this post, right? And as I started scrolling through it, it said there was like everything, and someone wrote, "This cured me of cancer. This cured me of fibromyalgia." Like the amount of autoimmune conditions, it said this cured. It was like this got rid of my tumors in a few months. Like literally, the 4,500 comments were all people saying how this has cured them. And I remember thinking when I read it, I remember straight away thinking if these three items all like anti-parasitic ingredients, like if these can cure this what massive spectrum of like conditions, then there must be like a common denominator between all of them. Like, and all of a sudden it was like, right, okay, there has to be something linking all of these different conditions together. They're not, and then all of a sudden I was like, they're not separate. Like, they're not, they're not, they're not, they're not all different entities. They're all caused by the same thing. And I remember sort of sitting on it, sleeping on it, but having it in my mind, sort of whirring and going round. And and then I remember waking up a few days later and having like just an epiphany moment, and obviously combining with the hypnotherapy stuff and stuff like that, and the different stuff I'd done medicinally. Like I remember just having a penny drop moment and thinking that the trauma, because at that time I was doing work regarding PTSD as well and the storing of trauma, and I just remember thinking the trauma that we're storing is is low vibration, which is attracting in, because at the time I was being taught or learning about how PTSD could be the result of or cause of all things as well. You could cure all things by curing PTSD, and then remember just thinking that trauma or that low vibration is actually what's attracting the parasites. And then I remember thinking straight away, like, if you got like a dead animal on the side of the road, what happens to that animal? Like it gets eaten by parasites. And a dead animal is a low vibrational state or low vibrational like matter. And and then I remember just thinking, oh, that's what that the trauma being stored in you, and it's stored multi-dimensionally. It's stored in your energy, maybe stored in your cells, but it's stored in your energy field and deep within you, like the rings on a tree. Like when you cut a tree, and you can see the rings, you can see where that tree's gone through different, where it's holding trauma. Like different rings reflect like more toxicity in the air and things like that. And we're exactly the same. We've got our rings. Obviously, not if you cut us in half, there's not rings, but I mean, there's rings on our fingertips, the same as a tree. But we store our trauma in exactly the same way, deep within us, within the folds of our being. And I just remember thinking, oh, that's it. It makes so much sense. Like our stored trauma is attracting parasites, and it's then parasites that are causing everything. Um, so then, like knowing about that, then and sort of then reflecting on that more and more, just sort of as time went on. When I come to make this, I had all of this stuff like in coming through the different levels of whatever. So everything in here was put in for a reason. It's either anti-parasitic is or known anti-parasite or known antimicrobial. It's like immune support, or it's like a harmonizer that allows your body to carry these different things further in and to connect them to where they need to go. Um, and it was like, and the mad thing was as well is that a lot of these ingredients I put into this I'd actually bought without even knowing why I'd bought them. I'd already acquired them, and as soon as I sort of set about making it, I was like, I knew straight away what I needed to put in it. I had like various boxes with stuff in it, and I was like, this, picked them out, and and then I wanted to then before I did, I didn't know deeply. Again, just like the birch bracket, I didn't know exactly how deeply about each one what they were. I knew roughly what they was. I knew how they were good for certain things. But then once I picked them out, I was then like, right, I'm now gonna do some more deeper research on what it is I've just pulled out and why I've pulled it out. So there is a lot of like there's a lot of intuition and trust in what I'm myself that has sort of allowed me to do this as well. Because what I feel as well is that if you only do what you're taught or what you are or what you believe to be safe, then you're always going to be confined to a box that is basically built for you. And if I go, oh, I don't know about that, well, oh yeah, but that could cause that could do that, then you're never gonna push the boundaries of what's possible. So with that in mind, like that's what I need to make clear that this is yeah, it's not if you were to type in what I've put into this into ChatGPT and say, is this safe? It will probably say no, because it's programmed to protect a system that keeps you in a box. But at the same time, that's why I've not been stupid with it and rushed it or done anything like that. And I've kind of gauged the response that I've got from it and allowed others that have been willing to try it as well. And in a way which is starting off from I mean, even if you drink too much water, the stuff that we have to keep us alive, it will kill you. Like if you drink too much water, you'll get water intoxication. The very thing that we need to keep us alive is poisonous in the wrong amount. So at the same time, the poisons will keep us alive in the right amount on a reflection. So like you say, what we said at the beginning, wormwood has got that frujon in it, which is known to be a neurotoxin if taken too much. but then at the same time, it's known that it's a very powerful anti-parasitic herb. So yeah, it's like food for thought, and there's a lot to take in with it. Um, there's a lot to take in, and yeah, like the boundaries are there to be pushed if you want to, make thing change, like to create things really, and create things that can make changes within yourself and for people. Um, just at that point, has anyone got any questions? Because that was a lot of information.
Just on that point of when you're talking about wormwood, some conditions, I think it's rheumatoid arthritis actually, they say not to take wormwood. And I find that quite ironic because obviously it's it could be another form of a parasite.
Yeah, yeah. So
Can I just respond to that?
yeah,
Yes, please.
Maybe it's because rheumatoid arthritis is viral,
Yeah.
and if you have a parasitic, it's gonna die and then release more viruses. So, like parasites eat viruses. So you take wormwood, which is a parasite, you're then gonna, if it doesn't kill all the viruses, they're gonna go into your body for your immune system to deal with them and process them and eliminate them. So it just could make it go worse.
But would that
Before it
not
goes
be?
better.
See, that's why they say though, isn't it, to take a binder with it, so
Yeah.
that they don't go into the organs.
Any detox, you need binders, don't you? Really?
Yeah, and that's just a classic, isn't it? Really, that they tell you potentially don't take this for that.
But then they don't give you that information. You can take it for that as long as you take that with it. But I
Yes.
suppose it's if you've got it severe, you're going to get worse, and then the inflammation is going to rise. You get too much inflammation, you could have a heart attack. So there is risk to it. I suppose when there's risk, it's like everything, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah. So like reflecting on that. So like with this, there is a complete spectrum of. So if a parasite is released, it's almost like there. So there's like a full spectrum of like support right up the chain, like all the way through your basically covering your whole energy system from tip to toe and beyond. So like what? So I mean, this what I've said about already. There's so much to actually talk about. Well, now I've started going into it. It could be like this could be like a 12-hour 12-hour session here. But basically, so something that's what reflects on what you've just said is this medicine. What I've come to realize is one of the things that I found when started taking it started to get like itching around my fingers, but this was after a result of having been shown like certain things that become really clear to me almost instantly. Like the first time I took it, off within like about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I felt like a kind of wave of like anxiety, which maybe because it's the first time I'd taken something and I was sort of like feeling the anxiety from the possibility of not knowing where it was going to go. But at the same time, it was almost like I was instantly shown I had two pathways, and one of the pathways was to go into that anxiety and to worry about something. The other pathway was to know that I didn't need to worry and to relax. And I obviously chose the pathway to relax. But I instantly felt as well like a bit of a kind of pain in my chest, which come out of nowhere. It almost felt like a I don't know, like a cut or something. And then I remember thinking, what was that? Like what was that? And it didn't last very long. But then I felt like I've had over the whole course of 3 days or so, I was reflecting on a lot of stuff. One of them was I was noticing it was almost like it systematically started to take away or allow me to reflect on things that I was doing that I knew I didn't want to do, but I was still doing it anyway because I was in a cycle, just like parasites. I was in a cycle of a habitual cycle, and those things were ultimately feeding something, feeding quite possibly because I remember a while back thinking we shouldn't really need to. On my way to work in the morning, I shouldn't need to go into the garage and spend £3.50 on a cost of coffee. It's almost like I'm doing it just to make myself feel like, oh, you're working really hard, you deserve it. It's like, go on, you know what I mean? Like, have a Snickers or something, like a pat on the back for doing your day's work. Like, it's like you're giving yourself a reward for just doing what it is you're doing. And that in itself was reflection on, well, if I don't want to be giving my money to Costa, I don't want to be giving my money to Coca-Cola and all these companies that are poisoning us. Do you know what I mean? Why am I doing it? And like knowing that in my head, I then like when I started taking this, I really it become very evident about how I'm going to break these cycles because it would just showed me it in before I did it in a very clear way. And I was like, and as I started, so one of them, I think I might have put it on the group, was about coffee. Like I would normally drink coffee, just loads of it, but know that I don't really want to, but I would be doing it anyway. And I'd just become like immune to it. I'd just drink coffee and in a part of me knew that I didn't want to really be drinking it but at the same time, it's one of those ones where if it's not hurting you, you're not finding it's affecting you, you just kind of go along with it. But then there's been like multiple things that have all just unveiled. It's like breaking that coffee cycle, sugar as well. As soon as I started thinking about not eating sugar, so I've done this a few times. I've stopped eating sugar like on a few occasions and gone for quite a long time like without it. Like I don't have sugar in my tea or anything like that. I drink water, a lot more water, but I used to eat a lot of sugar. And as soon as I started thinking like that I wanted to stop eating sugar again and cut it out, my day was just presented with, I went to a job and I was just given a cup of coffee and a plate of chocolate biscuits. And it was like, it was almost like I was being tested externally to see whether I had the minerals to practice what I preach. And then another one, like the other weekend, like I don't see my old schoolmates that much, but when I get an invitation to catch up with them, which ain't that much either anymore. Like I don't normally turn it down, and especially not when I had hypnotherapy still the following day, and even still, I would have been like, oh, I'll go around there for a bit, and it's all right, I'll leave a bit earlier. But normally, and I know that that's probably not the case, and I would probably end up being there far longer than I'd planned, and go into work the next day with a sore head, and you'd kid yourself that you'd be able to do it and you'd get there and you don't. And again, that pattern was broken like easily for the first time ever, I think. And which may not sound that important, but it's actually really powerful to be able to do that. And so one of the other one of the things I kind of noticed during these kind of these this sort of testing of this the trialing of this medicine, again, just mild, but the first time I remember just thinking, I feel like I like just recognizing that my webs in my hand, I was like, I'm feeling like itching. I'm feeling it like it, and I was thinking that's there's something going on here. I can definitely tell. And then I started thinking about, yes, Jill.
Sorry, just while I forget how it's going to go out my mind. So going back to what you were saying, the parasites, I don't know if you know, it has a strong relationship to cortisol. So the higher your parasites, the higher cortisol. That might be another reason why we like having parasites, because high cortisol is an anti-inflammatory. We don't feel stuff.
Right.
So then as soon as you do something to change that, even that slight drop in cortisol, because you've done the tincture that's dealing with the parasites, you get a drop in cortisol, which is the itching. So what do we do when we have itching? We take histamine and antihistamine, but a drop in cortisol can add to the itching. And when you've got high parasites, you're in fight and flight. So that's where the anxiety, because you were deciding that you were going to take something that's going to get you out of fight and flight, and for a temporary moment your body's like, do we want to do this, do we not want to do this, is this a good thing, is this not a good thing? You've sort of forced yourself to come out of the fight and flight, where you've got you've got the hypothalamus, the pituitary, the adrenal glands all having a little bit of a meltdown with this. So it's no wonder you experience those things, because the hypothalamus deals with everything.
Right. Yeah.
So then you're experiencing a lot of different things and around that. So it could have been the fact that you found something that's going to lower higher cortisol.
Well, yeah. So as that was happening, so I was then so the birch bracket, right, isn't in this medicine, okay? But as this was happening, I also I'll be honest, like I also found like I was getting like itching between my legs as well. Like not really bad, not like, but like it was just a mild kind of itching. And I was thinking, is this the parasites leaving me via the webs of my fingers and via the areas like down below? And I was thinking, I was just thinking, it actually is making sense. Like I do feel like the parasites are leaving me. And then what I kind of sort of thought is need to create a spray as well, or some kind of hand wash and that to use on it. So the thing is as well is that what you've just said, this is like same difference sort of thing, isn't it? So like you could look at it in one way, but also scientifically it's got another
well, if you flip it, why do people like, so you said about the horror movies, that puts you into fight and flight, that raises your cortisol, that makes you susceptible to low vibe, that makes it a perfect parasite environment, because you're high cortisol. So then it's like, which are we approaching it from? You think about all the cortisol health issues that are going on, and the way that, so your coffee was having there needing something because you sense that something else has changed. So there was something definitely changed within you, whether that was a whole host of mixture, like a super stuff going on, but it might be worth exploring that as
well,
a potential. What, maybe if you let us know eventually what the other things were, I can then say, oh well, it's probably that. Then that's probably that part of that is dealing that. But it's can you imagine how cortisol is a really big problem for us? And you talked about PTSD. The cortisol profiles change during different stages, don't they? We go from, I'm working with burnout at the moment, when we're lit and we're in that first euphoric phase of having a flame on, cortisol levels high, and we don't feel nothing. We can push on through and do what we want to do. But then once we go through cortisol exhaustion, then the body just hurts, doesn't it? So there could be what you've got there. It could be having some sort of effect on cortisol, even if it's micro. But if you're uber sensitive, sounds like you are, then you're sensing this.
I am sensitive to, like, so I notice, but then at the same time as well, I've learned to not there's a balance, isn't there, really, your sensitivity, because if you look too deeply,
you wouldn't be able to do none of this if you weren't, would you?
There's no end to the rabbit hole, is there? Like, so if you go into yourself and you go, oh, what's that little niggly pain now? Like, the more attention you add to it, the more it becomes more and more, until it's, like it's all fractal. Like, so like finding that balance of sensitivity, being able to recognize when you want to recognize, but not overanalyze.
One of the typical tools that you could do, like with kinesiology, we index and we test muscles. So we could say, before the tincture, roughly where were you on some kind of an indicator? Where is your cortisol level right now? And then you could take the tincture, maybe leave it half an hour. Where's your cortisol now? Has it dropped? Has it raised? You could explore that.
We can test that by using kinesiology. Okay, that's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's not we know none of this is medical standard, but energetically you can test that and just see if there's been a dip or there's been a rise or if there's been a change.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, isn't it? So it's not, no, it's not like, it's not medical standard, and it needs to, I suppose, and that's the thing with it, is needs to be done in a way that is.
But it's potential, it's good. It sounds what you're saying. I'm picking up all the potential stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Already on the other stuff, I'm like, wow. The thing is, I got this stuff in my treatment room, but I've not been using it because I've not explored it.
Yeah, right.
I've got Blue Lotus. I've got everything that you're saying. But you've got to have clarity or thought or understanding of before you then use it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, that's yeah, that's it really. So, because I mean, that's and again, so they've come into use just through, like, not through forcing it, just naturally into like, or I suppose they've been activated, naturally, because of the work that I've been doing with them. They've just found their natural activation within the work that I've been doing. So, and then have taught me as I've gone on with it. So, like an interesting like reflection of it as well is that, like, so for example, so the birch bracket is actually a parasite, like is actually a parasitic organism. So it actually takes over the birch tree when it's sort of on its last legs. And so then in that respect, what it kind of showed was that the birch bracket, like it has been, it is able to clear us of bacteria, antibacterial. So the reason why it's so powerful as well in that respect is that its natural abilities in the wild it has to be antiviral, antibacterial to protect itself against being consumed as well. So
it's a bit like homeopathy. It's like for like, isn't it?
Yeah, like for like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but then at the same time, what it protects itself against, it is to the tree. So it is a parasite to the tree. And so what that kind of showed me, when you say like for like, exactly the same thing, is that within us, like when we are when we're in that state with trauma, we become like a parasite on the earth, because the way we act is parasitic, because we are doing things to feed that trauma. So we will use excessive amounts of like packaging for things we don't even need. Like we're creating tons of pollution for stuff that we don't even need. Like we need it because we've been cultivated into a life of unnecessary stimulation, so to feed to feed the trauma that's in us, or to feed the parasites that are in us, or to feed the energy in us that ain't resolved. So, and we look and this as a means of escape and to distract us from the moment and being harmonized. So when we're in harmony, once we clear the parasites, we then stop being a parasite on the earth. And then the earth, we no longer feed these corporations, because we no longer need to have what they are giving us to, like what you said, to feed the traumas, to feed the parasites, to affect our cortisol levels. Like we no longer need to give our money to them, because we don't hold that trauma. Cutting off the feed, cutting off the cycle that then goes to these big corporations that we no longer need anymore, because we've healed our trauma. And then those big corporations effectively lose their feed and would die. And effectively at that point, we then begin to heal. So when we heal within us, we heal the outside. So like the saying, as within, so without, is reflection on, could be like as the same thing, but we are a parasite on the earth from the way from the stored trauma that we're holding. And actually, when you look into it, probably more than likely, those that do wield that power or try to, so I don't like to say those words for and give them anything in that kind of way, but um they're corrupted souls, aren't they? They're corrupted. And they're scared because they are scared of losing their position. Like they have fear. That's why they keep themselves, and like they use, the banking system, and that's why it's known like that the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, that they put the food is poisoned, and meat and our like senses are poisoned, so that we become ill, so that they can then feed us with pharmaceuticals. To then everything is about them becoming rich and us becoming, being in a low vibrational state. So when you look,
can I just, when you were talking about, I've gone back to the birch tree. Obviously, I'm looking at the birch tree. So you found the birch bracket mushroom on the birch tree. What was going on around the birch tree? Was it swamped? Was it not enough space? Why was the parasite on the birch tree, first of all? Did that birch tree need to be eradicated or shrunk or kept in its place and not allowed to grow? Was it space or other trees around that, or was it just there?
No, so on a deeper level, I'm not sure how. I haven't looked into how or why that species. So that species does only grow on the birch tree. So it is like, and it grows on the dying birch tree as well. So like if you go through the woods, you'll find it on like there'll be like one. I mean, there might be a few more, but normally there's like one in amongst a load of healthy birch trees.
It's part of the ecosystem, the breaking.
Yeah, and I suppose
it could be a positive to it, and
well, I mean, it's so like when I take them as well, when I collect them, like I found a huge one once, and I remember thinking it was so big that I didn't want to take it because I felt like it was beautiful and I didn't want to cut it off. But at the same time, I knew that if I left it, all that would happen it would eventually fall to the ground and just decay and go to waste. And I remember sort of, and when I do go into the woods now, I do like communicate, like I do sort of speak and sort of thank the woods for what I'm getting. And I do believe like a lot of the time it's like, I do believe all of it has come through to me for me to take, maybe because no one else is walking through collecting it and no one else has got no one else. I mean, I know that people do collect it, but I feel like almost blessed to sort of be connected to the woods and that in that way that it's sort of shown me. And the more, and as it's gone on, the more I have, the more I've connected, like the more you kind of trust that as well, that connection and what it is you're being sort of shown and that as well. So yeah, just on this medicine as well, I wanted to just say, so the birch bracket is actually in the kind of hand wash and spray thing that I've just put together as well. So there's like, on surface cleaner it says kills 99.99% of germs. And it's known that they use alcohol, and it's the reason why they say that is because they can't claim that it kills hundreds. Well, it is said that the reason why they claim that is because they can't legally say it kills 100%, because there could always be a 0.01% that it don't kill. Okay, so that's apparently the legal framework behind that. And then so I thought, well, in this hand bit, once they do come out of us, there needs to be a few things. So to complement that medicine, there is birch bracket, which is antibacterial. And I thought, well, whatever the alcohol don't kill, the birch bracket will polish off. Like I know that, I'm confident. So, but also there's lemon and lime as a citrus and to fragrance it, but also because that's got antiviral and antimicrobial properties. But also there's sage in it as well. And the sage is almost like, for me, because of the ethanol in it, the ethanol acts as like the same way it would to burn the sage. So to cleanse the area and to cleanse the aura and to cleanse the field, like the energy field as well, those elements together just seem to work. Like again, work beautifully. And now I haven't completed that yet. That's still in the process of forming. But I know that well, how would that relate to the way you were sort of picking up your kind of with your work, Jill, and what I've said about the medicine? How would that spray relate to any of that? What I've just said, does that sort of tick any or kind of reflect in any of your work?
Well, yeah, all of those ingredients are sort of medicinal herbs, aren't they? And they're or essences or they're essential oils. And you know, if we work like most of us are therapists, we've probably all got them, haven't we? But we don't really understand the full exposure of what they do, and maybe if combining them, how they work with each other. Yeah. So if I'm doing a client work and they'll need certain, depending, doesn't matter what the subject is, we might ask the client, what tools do you need? What energy tools? And it might go to an essential, it might go to homeopathy, it might go to a wood. Wood comes up quite a lot, and people have to hold on to the wood or the texture of the wood, or anything would come up and we don't always have to know what it's doing or why it's doing it or why that combination comes up. But it's I always say to my kinesiology, what we need to do is case studies, go back and find out if you've got a client that comes in with this topic, are we all picking the same energy tools? And shouldn't we sort of like collate them?
Yeah.
And then we say, oh yeah, that's interesting. 10 of us, 10 therapists had a client with this problem, and it always shows up with these protocols, you know?
Could I just interject there? In Chinese medicine, they talk about the different elements, and that where we're in the womb for 9, whatever months we're in the womb for, each is divided into elements. And they suggest that because we're only in the womb for 9 months, that we could potentially be lacking an element. So when you're saying that your clients may be having, they might be wanting to touch wood or etc., it could be that the element that they're missing under the Chinese medicine is wood.
Yeah, because we work with, so when we've got a client, we're also holding acupuncture points. So we're already tapping into their requirement from the 5 elements. So when we work with acupuncture and we work with specific points. So there's also you can be a primary element. So then from homeopathy, the 9 months thing is that you always are deficient in those 3 tissues that you didn't have, depending on where time you were born. So yeah, it's the same thing with the elements. If you're so at the moment I'm working with lots of people that are metal element and their primary thing, and this is their weak time. We're just coming out of metal into winter water, and I'm getting lots of metal people that are needing a lot of metal work. So so it's the wood, the water, the earth, that we work with the 5 elements. Yeah. It's such a lovely system, isn't it?
It is a lovely system. Yeah. Thank you, Jill.
Could you just excuse us for like 2 seconds? I just need to quickly do something. I won't be long.
How are you, Jill?
Oh, hi, Donna. How are you? I'm really well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, this is really interesting, isn't it?
It is. I'm learning lots.
Well, it resonates with a lot of what we do, but it's interesting to get a real good take on the actual. Normally, we just buy it, don't we? we've got the product. It's nice how it's come into existence.
Yeah. Is it really interesting, because my daughter really suffers bad with hay fever, and after I got Greg's tincture, because I saw people talking about it, literally nothing. She'd forgotten. I said to her about 2 months later, "Has your hay fever?" She went, "Oh, I've completely forgotten I have it." And she spends, like, she'd gone to see Stevie Wonder, sat in the park all day, not a thing. So yeah, really
Amazing,
interesting,
isn't it?
it is, yeah. And this Parasite, yeah, it's great. So just in the chat, Greg.
Yeah, so where we go from here, what I was thinking was, and again, I just don't think there's any point in or needing to rush with it, and it's gonna, just like the whole thing has unveiled itself naturally in the flow, like in its natural flow, is that I was thinking that if anybody would like to, because out of the people that have trialed it as well, there's been, like, as well as what I said, there was some like really obvious, and they're kind of like what I said about the coffee, the sugar, going out, like they're like things that are kind of really like quite 3D, you know, like quite three dimensional, like awarenesses that have come in, which are like, you know, coffee. They're just like quite things like quite clear cut things. But there has also been some quite more deeper processes. Nothing like extreme, but definitely noticeable things that where you, it's like resolving. It almost feels like resolving yourself, if that makes sense. Like in a certain way, like kind of resolving things that you may have been thinking about or not, unresolved stuff that, and not even on like extreme levels, just like simple things. But then in conversation, you might feel like you've unraveled something else. But it feels like definitely feels like it's harmonizing. And actually, what I felt like is from the start, there was like the initial like taste of it or drip was quite, I noticed in a way, and then, but again, not, it wasn't like, and I think I went in quite high on the first dose, and that's why I said then I realised, right, the dose should be 1 drip, not 2 or 3. Like it set a threshold straight away for being comfortable, and and again though, like what you said, Jill, like I am quite sensitive. Like I will notice it as well, where other people might take it and not notice that so much. But on all the accounts of everyone trying it, they all have sensed that they've all been going through these processes and stuff as well. And but what it seems though is that you kind of become more aligned to the frequency of it. So what I feel like as well is that within it, there's a lot of competing elements. So what you said about elements on your site, that all the different things bring something to the table, and that it's like it holds an energy because of what's inside it. It's like it's got a lot. It's very, very energetic. Like it's got a very energetic frequency.
Have you tested the frequency? Because kinesiologists can do that.
No, I haven't tested the frequency. No, like
tested them, like, you know, hold it, and then we can test what the frequency is. I do that all the time with everything.
What do you test it with?
Well, you just do muscle testing. So, like, if I get like I don't know, a product like a skin cream, and I'm changing, and I think, well, I want it to be a certain level, or I'm reading a book, and is this gonna move me forward in my consciousness, or is it not? It's going to take me backwards. You want that product or that thing that you're going to absorb to be at least certain levels. But frequency doesn't really matter, because it might have to go down to deal with the parasite.
Yeah. So in a sense, what you're saying, like, yeah. So I've when you say read it, like you mean read it by your interpretation of it, not by like a meter, like on a meter or anything like that. Or,
well, you're reading. You're just using muscle testing to ascertain the energetic pattern or frequency of something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So in that respect, so when you, like, if you're using like, if you know, like when you use yourself as a pendulum to yes, no answers, yeah. So in that respect, yeah, I've read it, and it's high.
Yeah. But then if you had like a blind study,
Yeah.
And then you got other people to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We all got come up the same sort of.
Well, yeah. So this is what. So basically, what I'm thinking is that if anybody is interested, where we go, where this naturally could go from here is that I would like anybody that's willing or wanting to try it to be able to give it a trial, and to like on the group we can share what, if anything that you feel for that day, almost like make the group like a diary for our experiences with it, and see how they all interact, and and um and also as well, so to just look for patterns within that, and it will emerge as a group analysis sort of thing.
Can I just interject again? When you was talking about frequency and that you can measure it with kinesiology, a friend of mine, I know this is slightly off topic, she grows mushrooms, and when she's growing them, she actually grows them to like 432 hertz frequency. And I wonder as to whether or not that may have like an impact, like when you're actually making the tincture.
Yeah.
If you've got a frequency going, does that have an impact as well,
Yeah, well, that's really interesting that you said that, because I do grow mushrooms. I grow lion's mane. I grow a few mushrooms, different mushrooms, right? And I have noticed, I do as well. Yeah, so I've noticed, so at certain times I have used tuning forks around them to bring them in. I've sung to them as well, right? Yeah. But at the same time, what I've noticed is that Wi-Fi doesn't go well with mushrooms, because their frequency is so divine and harmonious, and Wi-Fi is like a in it, and it don't, and the ones that would survive they don't thrive with the being anywhere near Wi-Fi. So what you said like about frequency, if you take them out, if you've got like a separate room where you can be like, I also find that as well is you could add that. But I also, so when I've done them before, and I've had them isolated from everything else, they grow beautifully. Like, and I like when you're in there with them and you can be around them and nothing else is like, interrupting that growth. Like, it's really nice and pure, like the energy, like, but all different things. Like if you have them, I've tried, and I've done like I've tried them in different areas and seen the effects of what different areas have in regards to how they grow and stuff like that. And when I had ones that were struggling, like I remember having some that was sitting there for ages and it was just dormant, and I got a tuning fork out, and I went round and was like, and just sort of stood round them with it for a bit, almost like giving them a little boost of frequency. Yeah.
A big hug.
Yeah, big hug. Yeah. Some vibes. and it worked. It worked a few times, and actually, what actually worked before without the tuning forks, when I identified that there was just negative energy being cast onto them from a source, and I kind of just resolved that by recognizing it, like in my own sort of mind and my own sort of awareness, and sort of kind of just put up just some protection really for them in my own kind of frequency, and they grew straight after that. And I was like, things like that, when that happens as well, it's like that's not really stuff that you wouldn't really tell that to people, because it's that person, they wouldn't understand it or believe it, but it's not for anyone else, it's for me. And then but in groups like this you can talk about it,
absolutely,
and it's recognized.
You're not a nutter.
No. But for me, it's like I've like the things like that you do, and that you actually see physical and like environmental changes from it. Like it's for you to sort of it's to guide. You can talk about it, but people are only going to hear what you're saying, where they're at, where their frequency is, and where their kind of understanding is. They will only hear what you're saying at that level, and they can't really comprehend the whole story anyway, because there's so much more depth to it that that's led to me doing that anyway. So for me to say, oh, well, I've done that and the mushrooms grew, it goes far much more deeper than that, because it's my truth of the journey that led me to believe that that would work anyway. You know what I mean? And
so we've been having like a global discussions with the kinesiology worldwide, like, you know, all over the world. And we're all coming together to sort of see where we're taking kinesiology in the future. And because we've been stuck in the medical body paradigm like everybody else, but they're wanting to take kinesiology into the future, and it's the biofield, but no one, or the quantum energy, but no one really understands it. Not even, you know, I understand it to a certain extent, but how do you promote but that's where that's the future of medicine, isn't it? That's where we're going. You know, biofield, quantum energy, quantum medicine. You know, this is the future, but we're almost too ahead of our times. We've got to wait for the rest of the world to catch up, and I think that will happen like AI really quickly. So, like what we're doing now might come, you know, might be something you're doing all the prep work now, because in a year's time or 2 years' time, everybody's going to be like looking for these solutions.
yeah, I think it's worth noting as well, though, is that the forces on this planet that are, you know, like holding the most of the wealth, and that are keeping, and that were wielding like their sort of so that the forces they know about this they know about the quantum energy, and they're using it in a negative way against the masses, you know. And so, like, although the future of healing is there, the last 50, 60 years of our, you know, of humanity's like path has been manipulated by people that know about what we're sort of learning now. But they and they've manipulated us with it, which means we've got.
But don't you think the tide is definitely turning?
Yeah, definitely turning. Yeah, I think, but then I remember. So it is interesting enough as well. In the last few weeks, I see a post about somebody who claimed to cure cancer, who had been saying it on his Facebook page and had loads of followers, and that he went missing, and that they don't even know where he is. He's gone missing, and then I think I've seen about 3 in the past month or so, and a lot, and it keeps popping up about how it's illegal to claim you can cure cancer, things like that, and all the like little things that point towards being yeah, not just being aware that there are forces out there that don't want this to happen. You know, they want us to stay where we've been, sort of thing. But at the same time, like, yeah, to not be scared, not feel, yes, to trust what we're doing, and yes, it's yeah.
I do actually think as well that when you're talking about the quantum field, the biofield, whatever you want to call it, that when you're talking about parasites, that when you start actually elevating your own vibration and your own frequency, my own personal opinion is that you are actually going to attract these things, because you're elevating. We're in this realm where they don't necessarily want us to elevate, you know, quite so dramatically, that you're going to potentially be under attack because they don't necessarily want you to ascend yet, you know.
They almost want to, so from my experience, that it's, if you're in your zone and you're in your power, then they can't, they can try, but you have to give them access. And that's what I think, you know, alcohol and drugs and, you know, sex and all the other stuff, that's making that person vulnerable, low frequency, to allow entry in on some level.
Yeah, and obviously, as you mentioned earlier, I think obviously like PTSD and those sorts of things, you know, because like everybody takes substances and drinks and that sort of stuff. You know, there's, as you say, there's another route in, but I mean, I've I think I'm personally experienced it, where you're elevating,
Mhm.
and then you're still in your own power. You're putting your auric field up, you know, whatever you want to call it, and you do tend to find more energies that are trying to attach as such, which is effectively what a parasite is, isn't it? It's attaching to you. It's not of you. It can be outside of you as well.
Yeah. And I think as well, like with COVID, I actually believe that if they didn't publicly say there is a virus called COVID-19 and it is this, I don't think anyone would have got ill. I think the very fact that we believed there was, we created it, and anybody that had something called it in. Because what I found recently is like when the times I've been had any kind of flu or cold in the past like 5 years, I remember getting it a few years back near Christmas, and I recognised that I actually called it in. I remember thinking, I actually really don't want to do the family thing this year. I just remember just thinking, I'm so tired. I just want to sit on the chair and watch films. And that's exactly what I got, because I was too ill to go anywhere. Like, and I ended up ended up shivering for 3 days on the couch. And then I didn't recognise it at the time, but I just remember thinking, I called it in. Like I didn't want it, and I didn't. I wanted to be on the couch. I wanted to watch films, and I got that very thing. So like anybody that, what I think as well is that when COVID started, people that would have caught it, or so with hypnotherapy, there's a thing called secondary gains, right? Which means that when someone has something, there's like, say if someone wants to lose weight or if someone wants to sort of stop smoking, you have to understand that there may be secondary gains, and they can be like, so for smoking, the secondary gains to smoking is like that they believe that the smoking keeps them slim, things like that. So like if they believe if they stop smoking, they'll put on weight. So they're like the secondary gains to the which help strengthen the habit, like because it isn't just about stopping smoking, it's about putting on weight as well. There's like other aspects to it which all play into the thing. So when COVID come about, there would have been a lot of people that wanted to get the cold so they didn't have to go to work. That's a given. Like, well, I know that's people want that. Some people welcome a cold so they don't have to go to work. Other people would have called it in because they, through fear, basically, I'm thinking they're going to get it. I'm going to get it. Like so. So again, on that, and then on that respect, when I do some of the talks in that I do, there's like a kind of a reflection on if a plane crashes in the Alps and there's going to be two types of people. There is only two types of people. There's going to be maybe one or two people that defy all the odds and walk through all the snow to all the way through the mountains and escape the crash site. And there's the other type of people that will die in the crash or in the snow and freeze to death. And the only reason for that is in the minds of the ones that make it, they are saying, I am not going to die. I am not going to die. I'm making it out of here. I'm making it out of here. And the ones that don't make it, the ones are going, we're all going to die. Or they're listening to the ones going, we're all going to die. And what you say in your head, ultimately, it's known, it's hermetic laws, it's been taught since day dot. What you say, your words, the word is God, the words we speak are spells. What we say ultimately becomes our reality. If you believe it strong enough, it will lead you down a path. And so then again, like what you're saying, the words we speak, our beliefs, changing those beliefs, changing the words we speak, breaking them cycles, allow you to be free and to not even not need to speak, like to not have to do anything like that. And that is really, to me, like if you think the tree, the mushroom, they all just are, like they just exist in a resonance, in like perfect harmony with their environment. So really, that's got to be our goal, isn't it? I think is to be that perfect harmony, is to exist in a harmonious state, and that's nature and that's natural. But we are able to do more than that because we have got the intelligence to use things to help us, to cure us, to find to trust like ourselves to do that as well. So um yeah, I just feel like, and yeah, and this is it as well. Waking up is what you're saying. Waking up is, there's every time there's a window of opportunity, you get a choice to like open that window and walk out of the window or stay in that box. And every time you walk out through the window of opportunity or through that path, you create another expansion of that awareness and that layer. And then there's another window, and you either remain in the box or you walk through and expand your dimension, your awareness, and and the growth and your growth sort of thing as well. And I suppose that's evolution as well, isn't it? Evolution of the species.
I'm sorry, Greg, I don't believe in evolution.
Yeah, and maybe not as who's it? Who was the guy that? Yeah, maybe not in that respect. But no, but I feel like, but you say that, but I'm years and years ago, I remember thinking that our DNA was it's our DNA, like, because like almost is like we code our DNA with our trauma. So, for example, so part of this is really spiritually and soul, like, so the area of this which is like the mind, body, and soul, I feel is like it will clear your the trauma that you're holding that you would pass on to your children, and then pass on, because it's that trauma is ancestral trauma or past life trauma, and you're storing it. And if you once you can resolve it and recognize it and clear it or harmonize it and allow it to raise its frequency and bring it into alignment, you're not passing it on. So then in that respect, you are evolving, I believe, evolving your genes and your DNA to as they're passed on. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, I've learned, I've heard that your blood sings, and when you're changing your frequency and you're changing your thought patterns, that changes in tone. I don't know if that's to do with the frequency that's around you, the frequency that's within your body, but that your blood actually has got its own sound. And I don't know how to measure that. I wouldn't know where to start. It's just something I heard, and I thought it was a very thought-provoking concept.
Well, yeah, it's got iron in it, hasn't it? So everything's got a frequency in it. So like on a periodic table, it's like iron. It carries everything. That oxygen. There's a lot of stuff in there.
And the further, they say that the further you go down into the ground, that the more ionized it's going to be. So there's certain places in the world, isn't there, where you can go right down and your oxygen levels go up, and due to the ionization in your blood. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. That's why I'm here.
No.
I just read lots of books.
That sound can come out as tinnitus or tinnitus, that buzzing, where your pressure of your blood makes a different sound.
Yeah. I've got a client that I've been working with tinnitus as well, and there's been like reduces in it. There's been more reduction in it than said that she's ever felt. Even days where she's noticed that it's not there at all, and she's all of a sudden gone, "Oh my God, it's gone," and then by recognizing that it's gone, it comes back again, and it's almost like. And I've said to her a lot, and I believe that it's like you've had it for so long that you kind of. It could even be now that it's not so much as you've done like a lot of the traumas, like a lot have gone in and actually identified loads of different things that were stored, which would cause it on an energetic level. But then now it's almost like it's like having a nervous twitch, like even if you can't turn the thing, you're so used to doing it, you're recognizing it. It's like a habitual thing that you're doing that you're like, it's no longer happening without your control. It's now happening because you're so used to it, like almost like it's just become a part of you, sort of thing. And
I've
that's
I've got tinnitus, and I'm trying to put a little story together, because when I go away from my house, it reduces. And then I've been monitoring it over the last year, and when I come back, it kicks off, and it's doing all different levels. But the last sort of 6 months, it's been really screeching. My blood pressure was really high at one point, and it was really bad then. It's come down, and the noise isn't so bad, but every now and again it will come screeching. But it's definitely at home, so I'm wondering if it's the Wi-Fi, if it's where the house. I mean, I've lived here for years, so I can't see that anything's changed, but has something energetic changed around my house? So I'm just trying to put a story together for myself. I'm going to make a log of it, but that was right. I'm going away again this weekend, and I'm going to note whether it, and it did it. I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, I can't hear it. And then
Could
I
it
come
be that
back.
you're distracted when you're out, and then when you're home, you're a bit quieter and stiller, like meditation? You're like relaxed at home, so then you pick up on other sounds. Whereas you're out, there's busy noises, distraction, colours.
No, but when I'm on holiday and I'm kind of relaxing, so then I'm thinking, is it a stress thing? I'm just trying to put this story together.
Yeah.
Of what
I get it as well, and I've got it now because I sometimes think of it as picking up sort of higher frequency. I think it does lots of different things. I think it is definitely linked to blood pressure for sure, but it can be other higher frequencies that we're picking up, because if we're picking up around the heart, and with the blood pressure, it's the heart, and the heart is the biggest, vibrational organ we've got, then we're probably picking up the heart sounds from a energetic point of view, if you know what I mean. But
it can wake me up some nights. So loud in there, it wakes me up.
Notice the times as well, because it could be connected to the meridian.
Yeah, more like sort of 4 or 5. It was 4 for a while.
Kidney and bladder, isn't it? Kidney, bladder.
Yeah, I'll do some more noting down and try and put a story together.
Yeah, I think as well. I don't get it a lot, but every now and then, everybody sort of does get like the ringing in their ears. Oh, can you hear that and ringing? But I definitely found that whenever I've had it and focused on it, it does not go. Whenever I've had it and just gone,
get on with it,
and turned my attention off of it, it goes quite quickly. I actually once, so I mean, I know it's not, I haven't got tinnitus, but just as in regards to the ringing that you do get, or like, I remember once getting some mushrooms, right, and coming back, chopping them up, and as I did, all of a sudden, my right ear started really like going. It was ringing, but it was also kind of blocking out and all. And I remember going. So first of all, I didn't think nothing of it, and I went like that, just patted it like as if when you get water in your ear at the swimming pool. Done that, carried on chopping some up, and then it did it again until the point where it literally just went completely dead. Like I couldn't hear, and then it was ringing, and then the whole night, as it went on, the whole night it got worse and worse to the point where my boys was talking to me, and I was sitting in the living room at that point because it was so bad I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't hear the TV, and he was talking to me. I was like, sorry. I literally can't hear you. I said, just, it's actually stressing me out a little bit now. I was like, I can't, I was like, it's actually starting to stress me out. I went, let me just sit here and relax. And I remember messaging someone and saying, I've either got tinnitus or I'm having the mother of all downloads. And I will find out in the morning. If it's still ringing, I've got tinnitus. If it ain't, and I literally woke up and it was gone. And I was like, what? That was just mad.
I had that same experience. At one point I was going to be vegan, and I went to a chap that was making vegan food, and I said, he had a big festival, and I said, well, I want to learn how to cook vegan. I'll come and help you. You need support. You're going to need to prepare all this food. And he said, right, go in the garden, pick all these herbs. And I had like a big bundle of it, and I think it was parsley, and I was chopping it up, and I had to go home. I said, this is making me feel so ill. Just chopping the parsley and the herbs. My ears went, I went dizzy. I had to go outside and lay down. I was like, so I don't know if it was like chopping up lots and lots and lots of like fresh herbs. They didn't.
I did
the
think
frequency coming out of it was too much for me to cope with.
Yeah, I did think that because the mushrooms I had were fresh, and I did think that I did think, oh, I've probably maybe I have just like you absorb chemicals, don't you, in your glands, and I was just thinking maybe I have absorbed a bit, and it's given me something. But at the same time, again, that same thing is that when you over, like what we said earlier, when you're overset, if I was to have really I know this is a thing. I have experienced things in my life which have only happened once, and they're very odd, and it's like, well, that was odd, and it don't happen again. But if I go into that and start worrying about it and make it into something, those things can become ongoing things. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the time people would say, like some people say, like, you believe it has to be something. I experience saying, like, it's got to be something. If it's not that, it's that. If it's not that, it's that. And I just think there's so many things in the world that we can't even explain, even begin to analyze or understand. And some things just need to be just experienced and
Can I just touch on that really quickly, Greg, if that's all right?
Yeah.
I've experienced, as time's gone on, when I've got more involved with holistic practices and being more aware of myself, that my ears are more sensitive, and everything is more sensitive, and especially at night, and also like with energy and flow and just being more in tune with yourself. Is that not just part of why we are sensing these things more? Because we're more in tune, we're picking up things at a different level. So where others may not feel or sense these sensations in their ears, we are, because we're maybe at a different kind of level, tuned in at a different level. Spiritually, when I do like spiritual work, I find that that's really increased my ears and sensitivity, and something I heard somewhere, just food for thought.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Well, so like, yeah, when you're hearing that, like it is known or not, like it is known or like recognized that you are getting downloads, you are receiving like frequencies, and that you are, and it is that, like, it is recognized that those are, like downloads, like upgrades, light codes, like um and and like, because if you don't notice it, then you're not, like, I think that's it as well, isn't it? Awareness and like picking up on the things and like not being shut off to it. Yes, definitely, that's it, isn't it? It's part of the connecting to it all, rather than like shutting off from it.
I kind of just go with the flow with it now and just use it.
Yeah, has anyone else got any questions or anything? I don't know. I feel like I have pretty much covered all the sort of things I wanted to say. I haven't gone into detail about what is in the medicine. Obviously, I will before anyone takes it. I think there's obviously much more. There's more levels to go through, really, with it, like in terms of what's in it. If so, also as well, like I think there's a guy in the group called Alex, and he's messaged me about being diabetic and a few questions, and there are a couple of things in here which, which could like stimulate certain things, which in regards to sugar levels and things like that. So obviously, anyone that wants to try it, I mean, there's still another 20 odd people on the group that would all probably want to hear all this, listen to this Zoom, and then decide whether they want to like try it as well. Obviously, like I said, the chat can be like a place where everyone can share what they've got from it and what they're making of it, and how they're feeling with it as well, like a meeting point for that. obviously, again, like I think maybe once everybody else or anyone else on the group sort of had a chance to catch up with that, then I could say about obviously what's in it. Anybody can raise their sort of questions about whether that is all right if they're taking. I know because a lot of this, if someone's taking medication for something, obviously that certain things could have like or be known to react with certain things, but at the same time, it is such a small amount that like people that when people's that it's known as well that if you've got like a nut allergy, they reckon the way to cure it is to take a micro dose of nuts to allow your body to harmonize and to align with the frequency of that, the energy of the nut, like whatever it is that's in the nuts that's causing you to react to it, to allow you to balance yourself to align with it. So I feel like anything that's in this that would be, on paper, something that could react with a medication is going to do it in a higher dose, maybe not in this dose, certainly not after one drop. I know that, like, it's such a small amount, but at the same time, the fear of it could create what we've said, your beliefs, the fear of it could create a reaction, like an allergy to it or an allergic reaction to something that's in there if you're on medication. So I think in that respect, there is also kind of like a protocol to go through, which is understanding that you could do that. So that in itself, see ya. Yeah, that in itself is a healing as well, because knowing that you're like, so already these drops are teaching us or teaching those that might be considering to take them about the deeper levels to themselves, which are going to affect, could create an effect in them that they need to recognize before they take them, if that makes sense. It's already like so then I feel that once everybody's caught up, I feel like anybody that's ready to try some and then sort of go on that journey with the group, and anyone that's not, there's already a safe like supporting space here where they can learn why they're not feeling that they will or why they're feeling that they shouldn't, to then allow themselves to align to that belief and trust in themselves that they will, that it will be all right for them, and to kind of conquer that initial resistance to it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm not so yeah, so like with that in mind, yeah, so that's it. Like, and a lot, it's like a harmonizing to it, and yeah, understanding what it is. Yeah, so there's still a lot. So I think I might maybe wrap it up now, because I think I've got to do a few bits as well. But I think once everyone's caught up, we can sort of reflect on what's in it, what everybody's. Again, like, we can do. Anybody wants to speak about what with any thoughts come into your mind, pop it on the chat, and we can talk and catch up on now.
Sounds good. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah,
brilliant.
No problem. Thank you all for coming along and sharing.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys.
I just want to know when I
Thank
can
you.
have access to it, please.
You're clearly ready.
Absolutely, yes. It was like you said earlier that you're going to do a purge when you're going to do any parasite cleanse. So it's not just a case of doing a purge or a parasite cleanse, is it? It's like you just said, it's purging all of everything.
Yeah, it's physical, mental, energetic, the whole shebang, like the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
There's like I'll talk about it more, but in it there's all sorts of stuff. There's holy basil, there's like angelica root, there's all the way up. There's like stuff that is going on, like in every way, shape, and form of the spectrum of what we're dealing with, our energy, our like stuff for the mind, for like I've got like a big like write up of all the stuff that's in it and what it is they actually do, which I'll share on the thing. And some of them are renowned for releasing trauma and going into the processes of the like the conscious mind as well. So all of them together creates that like the whole like the fabric of what it is we're dealing with. Because there's no point getting rid of the physical parasites if the energetic ones are then going to draw them back in. So it's like a complete like cleansing all the way through from core to infinity.
Sounds good.
I feel like this is going to be the icing on the cake with all the work that I've done and where I've been going. I feel like this is going to be like the cherry on the top that will just help that last little like hurdle.
So yeah, and so this, and yeah, I do as well because I feel like this is like, and there's like there's like an architecture to it which allows for like a complete understanding of like what it is, so that empowers your like belief to back it as well. You know, like it's not just the magic of the actual herbs and that are in it and the power of that and the energy that holds. There's also like an architecture to the framework which allows you to consciously like be the driving force behind that as well.
Yeah.
And to allow it to work on all the levels that it does. Because like people with medicine, like a lot of people just want to take it and go, kill me, you know, that's it, like a teaspoon of that, I'm done. And then wonder why it's not, because it's not that simple. It's like it's a much deeper much deeper process and understanding that you've got to have to kind of manage it all and to kind of heal it all and harmonize it all. I'll wait for let the group unfold for a few days, let other people catch up with the Zoom, and then anybody that's seen it will go on, give it a few days, maybe up to the week or something, and then I can sort of share what's in it and why the bits work, I think. But I think that's just going to come through anyway, naturally in the next few days, where the next phase will be. But also, really, as the ongoing phase is that I'd like anyone that wants to try it and to be part of the journey with it. Yeah.
Yes, please. Are you going to? You mentioned in the group that you have recorded it.
Yep.
Will you be releasing that recording into the group, or will it be a kind of donation type thing?
The one we've just done here?
Yes. What's your intention?
I feel like that this recording, I'll probably put it into. Maybe I'll do like a group for putting the videos in order, maybe as they come on, and everything we've got on that, almost like a chat group, purely to like record all of the phases of it. I feel like I'll have a feeling like, because I have opened this group up to most of the people that I know and like the circles that I'm in, and those that have come on it clearly are the ones that it resonates with and that have sensed their like engagement in it. So I feel like the group may be quite. I don't think it's going to get much bigger. Someone left earlier and someone left the other day, and I feel like I think that I may even like close the group to just have us working with it on our as a to learn more about it, really, because I feel like it's something that I just didn't really know that didn't jump in with, oh, I want to do this, I want to make money out of it, and then I really just wanted to understand it, and I just felt like bringing like awareness to what I was doing was much more like much better than to just sort of say this is that, it's 30 quid a bottle or whatever, you know, find your way with it, because actually what I do is not about that, it's actually about the process that comes after.
Yeah.
and learning more as well. Like, and it's such a it's turned out to be such a powerful it's turned out to be such a powerful like medicine that's come out that yeah that there's so much more to learn. Like what I said about just then what I was saying as well about those that don't feel they can take it because they think it might react with something, is already highlighting again that the like concept of the medicine is highlighting the blocks that are showing up in people that may be scared to take it. So it's already highlighting blocks and fears just by like not even taking it. And that just really just shows me like how powerful like the actual concept of it is without even taking it. Just the kind of awareness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's teaching again, like everything that I've done really, it's teaching me I'm not like wielding it like recklessly, like I'm in respect of it, and it's teaching me as it unfolds. And it may even be a case at some phase that the actual you don't even need to take the medicine. It may even create a kind of architecture of like healing that doesn't even require taking it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, the two at the minute are kind of like go hand in hand. That one you can't really have that without that because it's the fear of all the things it shows up and the things that you get from that. But the two, so I suppose you do need both. But I think you can get what I'm saying with it. You will learn from it without even taking it. And even when you're not taking it, you're learning from it because you're feeling things that definitely aren't still in you from, like, it takes like 3 hours for alcohol to be out your system or things like that. So what's in it? I don't know how long all of those elements stay in your system for, but when I've broken from it, I mean, I don't think I've now taken it for probably about 5 days, and I'm talking about it and engaging with it, and it's become a part of my like frequency. Do you know what I mean? Which is really like exciting and also really mind blowing, really. So we just want to see, just really, just where it, just really happy that there's like-minded people that want to put get involved and experience it as well, really.
It sounds so intriguing, and I am just raring to go. So whenever you say yes, you can do it, I'm there.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that then, and then we'll see how it unfolds over the next few days. And any questions or anything you want to say or bring up or talk about on the chat, just fire away with it. And
Right. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.